Let's not bury the lead. The Patriots play football this week. It's Lazar, Dussault, and Tamara Brown. Guys, what are you looking for in this first preseason game?
Well, who's going to play, I think, is the big question, first of all. And based on practice, when we saw earlier this week on Tuesday, it seems like it's probably going to be some backups. So I'm excited to see Bailey Zappi get a start. I think he's going to get, hopefully, some extended time, but I don't think you can see him the whole time. I think it's probably going to be a little bit Malik Cunningham, maybe a little Trace McSorley. I'm guessing Mac Jones is probably going to have the night off.
Yeah, it sounds like that, and some of the other frontline players on both sides of the ball wouldn't necessarily expect to see them on Thursday night, but the rookies. I'm looking at the rookies because this is the first time that they get a real taste of game football. You know, we're not talking about practice anymore. We're talking about games, and I think for a lot of these guys, how does it translate? It's great to see players in 7-on-7, 1-on-1. Like, those are fun. They're great to see. But until you're between the lines and under the lights, it doesn't necessarily always translate for certain guys. Now, one guy who I think is clearly going to translate is Christian Gonzalez. Like, I think we know that that's going to work out well for the Patriots. He's looked great in practice. I think he's going to play well on Thursday night. And Keon White, I think, similar. And especially seeing him be able to actually sack the quarterback, if he does get a chance at that, will be fun. But I think all of us are looking at the 2 6th-round wide receivers. Pop Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, both of them have made plays. Both of them had flashed throughout the last couple weeks in training camp. So we'll see what they look like in game action, catching passes from whoever it is. I think we'll see their route running and explosiveness stand out.
Deuce, Evan topped on a lot of the highlights, but I do want to talk about the offensive line, which has kind of been a low light of training camp. That's something to watch in this week's game, too.
It's been a battle of attrition. I mean, they've had some injuries. They've had, guys just training down on the lower field. So, Antonio Mafi's been playing a lot. Getting a look at him. Sidiso, another guy who should get a chance to get a lot of snaps. So I think it could, in the long run, be great. You just have to temper your expectations a little bit. As Evan said, these are rookies getting their first taste of live football action.
I do want to talk on special teams before we wrap. We've got some guys here, some rookies here who could have a chance to potentially get a lot of playing time on Thursday night.
I mean, all over special teams. I mean, you're talking the kicker, the punter, the gunners. So certainly, Chad Ryland, Nick Folk, they've been kind of going back and forth in practice. Not quite sure how they'll divide those reps up here in a preseason game, but I'm going to go with another guy, Isaiah Bolden, another rookie, who I think could actually play some on defense as well, contribute on special teams, maybe as a kickoff returner. He was really good in college. So he's definitely a name to watch lower down on the depth chart who's going to get a lot of opportunities against the Texans. And I think, those are the times you have to take advantage of those opportunities because they don't come around very often.
Just one more thing. You got to look at the punters, right? Let's get the stopwatches out. Let's be ready for the hang times. Okay, inside the 10, inside the 20. That's where we're going to look at for these punters. And Bryce Behringer, he's got a boomer. I mean, that kid can really punt the football. We've seen some of these punts that, touch the clouds basically from him. But Corliss Waitman's been pretty consistent as well. Maybe not quite as big a leg, but his consistency punt to punt seems a little bit better at this stage than Behringer. So this is a really good battle between both specialists. The kickers and the punters. It's been pretty close.
Feel the
all
excitement.
Things considered. I know it's crazy to be this excited about specialists, but honestly, when you look at it, the games is where it's really going to come down to. It's one thing to watch it in practice in front of the great fans here at training camp and things like that, but what does it look like when there is a little bit of pressure in the games? And we got a little bit of that in the in-stadium practice, but now it ramps up even up a little bit more.
Well, we've got you guys ready for the first preseason game on Thursday night versus the Texans. We'll be back with more next week.